All right, so welcome to this week's Power Hour stream. We're gonna see how far we can make it. I've been sick all week, so apologies about the voice, and there's a couple coughs here and there. Again, apologies, but we're gonna see how long we can make it. It might only be about a half hour. It's been pretty slow all day now, but yeah, I mean, for most of our flow, it's just been pretty. Just getting a lot of mid fills here and not seeing the best setups and all that. And like these MSTRs, I've been seeing those get hammered all day, but starting to get a lot of volume in here. So it gets to be kind of a lot to track and know how much is going to carry over into Monday. And got a higher multi-leg percentage on something like this. But a lot of net call premium here for sure on the day. I'm guessing this chain is probably only 5% of the total. So, okay, well, seeing a lot of other volume as well then. Your tide's just been pretty flat all day as well, too. A lot of put volume coming in, though. But all your premiums just kind of sitting bid side right now. Just not a lot of action going on today, and even just kind of looking at the ETF flow, I mean, just not seeing a lot of high premiums coming in either. What's up, Gator? And your bid side, I mean, it's just not a lot of just not a lot of good stuff. I mean, the two pieces that we had from today, the NXEs, those 45 trading at looks like 58 right now. Good move on those. The NVTSs, I mean, those moving up here as well. 110, 130. Martian, what's up? And I told Pipsy, we're gonna see how long we can make it. If the voice gives out, we're done. The coughing's slowed down a little bit, but I gotta save a little voice for the flow recap. Fingers crossed. So. But yeah, I mean, the two pieces that came in today, I mean, good trades for anybody that took those. And yeah, I mean, even yesterday, like the JDs coming into today, I mean, 104, looked like we had a high of 140 today. And I know some people took the ALABs, Martian, I know you were looking at those, and I mean, massive move on those. Let's see, these just kind of flat on those 36. Ciphers, I know those moved from Wednesday. 98, I mean, that whale got out at 110, but they hit 126 today. Trying to see what the hymns calls. Those were massive from earlier in the week. Maybe my internet's been being a little funky today. Nope, there we go. Come on. Yeah, I mean, those hymn calls, massive move on those. Oh, the Netflix, I believe, are down a little bit. Oops. When did our Netflix come in? These were, let's see. Yesterday, 18th. What am I, blind? Okay. Yeah, 359. I mean, they're still down 220. Circle, those actually printed yesterday and today. I mean, 290, you came up and hit 397 yesterday, and then 471 today. Good move on those. Bruno, what's up? Eco Run, what's up? I was telling everybody else in here, apologies that it's probably only going to be a half hour today. I'm been sick all week, and it just depends how long the voice lasts here, but and apologies if there's any coughing, because it's been a lot better today, but whew, man, it's been a week. Let's take a peek at these OP80s. Well, and I want to save a little voice too for that flow recap, because it's kind of a bigger list this week. with the these OP80s, so a little longer term here. Oh, and we got a 5 call coming in, so no, this is interesting to me. Both coming in at the ask. So up a little bit today. It was 71% out of the money. These I find interesting as long-term flow. JT, what's up? Let's see, let's take a peek at these. Yeah, that IV spikes. That's what it's been like all week, and I'm trying to mute the actual recording so when people replay it, they won't actually have to deal with the coughing. But okay, those look good there. And I'm guessing the 5s probably look good too. Come on, I can't even click, man. I will be sleeping all week, and that is my plan. Okay, so then your IV kind of drops here. Interesting. So like when I typically say, okay, well the IV drops, and you look at it as a possible sell to ask, well, you have this other flow to kind of go off of as well. So that bid ask actually opened up a little bit more there too. Oh, that thing's running already, isn't it? I think that thing's moving already. Oh, yeah. Yeah, so I guess that flow was good. I probably wouldn't chase it now with it popping like that quick. But good little quick find there. Let's look at the GCT, smaller size here. So smaller size on those. Let's take a peek. So big spike in the put premium. And I'll try to hang out for a half hour. I'm just trying to mute if I have to do a quick cough, so I don't have any flow to look at around here. How do we look the last 7? These could look good. I just wish the size was a little bit bigger on those. 48 days. Okay, I'm going to pass on that one. Let's look at the WD. So not coming in right at the ask, so it shows it's the ask, but you're 10 cents off from the bid. You're 30 cents off from the ask, so it's more towards the bid. Let's see. Okay, so the IV spikes. 581. Where's that drop? So 10 contracts. Not a huge chunk of it. Then you got some smaller with that IV drop. So a little tougher on something like that where most of that's coming in kind of towards the bid. You got a wider bid ask there. Probably would pass on them if you made me choose. I would probably say those are buys though with the ask. Let's see the 1017 VKTX, 27 5s. Pretty much coming in at the ask here. A lot of volume today on it already, it looks like. Yeah, something with a lot of volume already I'm probably going to pass on. You just don't know what's being passed around and how much is going to actually carry over into Monday. But yeah, and yeah, like these MSTRs from earlier, I mean, it looks good, but you just have a lot of volume. You don't know what's going to carry over. That's the only thing. Now, if it all carries over, obviously it's going to look good, but you never know until that open interest updates. These app love-in ones. Again, a lot of volume here. You just don't know what's going to carry over. Let's see, what else do we got? Just hasn't been a lot today after the move up. And like these, I mean, 13% with weeklies. It's hard to chase something that's up 13% already. And even when we looked at that raw flow earlier, I mean, your IV spikes coming in at the ask. I mean, it looks good, but when something's up 13%, obviously your volatility is going to be up as well too, and then you're risk chasing something that expires next week. And 7% out of the money for weeklies kind of is almost a stretch. Just, I mean, you have theta over the weekends that you got to worry about. So, but obviously doesn't always mean. I mean, 112 they're trading at 140 now, so they made a good move. And like these DraftKings, I mean, the spreads are just kind of bad on those, and when you look at them, obviously a big chunk of that's bid side as well. You can see they haven't really made a good move at all. Yeah, just, I mean, a lot of multi-leg stuff, a lot of kind of longer term stuff. So core weaves, 76% out of the money. Got to take that into account with how many days it is too. I mean, you get a 10% move. I mean, you're going to make some money on those contracts. Keith joined. Welcome. I told everybody, Keith, it's probably only going to be a half hour in here just because that I'm trying to save a little voice so I can do that flow recap too. But yeah, I mean, just a lot of multi-leg junk today. But yeah, I mean, some of that flow from this week, I kind of want to cover it here too, just in case I don't make it through the actual flow recap. I should, but yeah, I mean, the NVTS is today 110. Looks like we're up at 130 now. Good move on those. The NXEs, good move on these too. 45. Looks like our last one of the fill was at 60. The QQQs, these were those lottos that I posted yesterday, so keep that in mind too. I made sure to put that out there that I figured that was going to be a lotto. These are expiring next day. Obviously, I mean, 27 hit 31, not really worth it. And the ALABs, these massive move yesterday and then into today. I mean, 1289 and then hitting 2347. I think 24 was the high today. So good move on those, and that whale looks to still kind of be in too. The JDs, again, small little move on those. 104, I mean 121, 121. It's showing a high of 140 today though, with that spread probably. The Comcast CMCSA here. I mean, those popped a little bit at first. Could have got out with some profits in morning here, but otherwise looks like they're trading down at 24 right now. Weak on those, but it's still seeing a lot of net premium here. And then even yesterday, let's pop this out a little bit. Pop it out a little bit more, sorry. I mean, last 2 days seeing a lot of call premium picking up. So good sign there. Shorter term on those though. The BBY. So again, this is why I'm always telling people you got to have a stop on no matter what. Here's that flow from yesterday, 61. It came all the way up to 80. That's a good enough return, and they slowly came back down. And I mean, you're trading at 65. Good enough to secure some profits, and you know it's kind of shorter term too. So taking those profits is big. You know theta is going to work against you, and then you have something like today where Best Buy is down now. Then QQQ calls from yesterday, obviously those are up 662, hitting 696 today. Looks like our whale's still in there. Marvel calls, these ones are pretty messy now. That was the entry there, 125. Big chunk of that volume carried over, but just a lot of big spikes yesterday in volume here. Down a little bit now, or well, down now. And that's again one thing I'm always telling people too. You don't have to follow the whales off a cliff. I mean, should have your own risk management plan kind of coming into some of this stuff. Marvel, the Netflix calls again. So the entry was here yesterday, 359. Kind of came down a little bit. Coming back a little bit now, and Netflix can be excuse me, kind of a quicker mover. I mean, you're up almost 2% today, but you're going to need a big move over the week, and we'll see what we actually need for some profit on Monday here. Let's take a peek. So on Monday would be the, 22nd? 22nd. I mean, get a 2% move, you get some decent returns on that. Would have to obviously get that good move. But that's kind of one thing, playing those shorter term contracts too. Data's going to always work against you. But some more ads here possibly today. I have to see how much carries over into Monday, but very interesting there. Circle, yesterday entry there, 290. They ran up, hit 397. Then you even hit 471 today. Good move on those. Cipher from Wednesday. Entry there, 98. Those ran into close, 121, and then looks like our whale took them off at 110 yesterday. And actually hit their high today of 126. Up almost 6% on the day. The ARC puts, those made a good move on FOMC day. 288, I believe, was the entry, or it was that first candle. I'll have to go back and look, but 261, 288. You had that pop at FOMC up to 320, 333. I mean, you're hitting that twice. And again, if I'm up a significant percent, have a stop on. And even if the whale's still in, doesn't mean you have to be secure profits. Look out for yourself. That's my biggest thing I always tell people. Because now, I mean, you never know what that full whale is doing on their trade either. If anything, what I'd like, I mean, if you believe this whale is still truly short, I mean, 'cause it looks like you had about half of that volume from yesterday carry over into today. If you believe most of that whale's still in, like now, if you secured profits on yesterday or Wednesday, days are all messed up now, you could recycle your profits. You're at a dip buy, you're like, hey, these are only 147 now, that whale's still in. Could maybe recycle some of those profits that you got. That's something that's I really like doing as well. Have that net put premium picking up here on that again today too. The Mara puts, those, let's see. So 33, those just kind of train at 19-ish. I get that cough out, it feels really good, I'll tell you that. But yeah, good, I mean, not a pretty good move on those yet. A lot can happen over the weekend, but again, shorter term, you're going to have theta eat those over the weekend. And let's see. Wait, did these come in on the 16th? Hold on. Yes, I lied. I'm off a day. All right, okay, the 16th. I was like, I'm pretty sure those did make a move. No, so that was just my mistake there, Bruno. So they came in on the 16th. I was looking at the 17th still. So 69 here. They ran up here 69. They hit 83. So that whale did see profits at some point. My guess is here on the 18th, see a lot of that volume. Could have added to it. That's hard to know because, I mean, you have that. So we'll go through this, make it a little bit easier. So 16th, this is all your volume carrying over into the 17th. They hit their high on the 17th. See about 2,000 contracts traded. No change in that open interest here on the 18th. So a lot of these candles in here, those contracts are passed off to somebody else because you're not seeing that change in the open interest. So biggest thing between volume and open interest. Volume, that is your intraday contracts changing hands. I give you a contract, I sell you a contract, you sell it back to me, that's 2 for volume. And like, okay, I'm trying to think of an example off the top of my head. I sell you 500 pieces of candy today, and you sell me back 300 pieces of candy, and you keep 200 overnight. you wake up tomorrow with 200 pieces of candy. So now if you sold me the 500 pieces of candy back, that would be zero that next day. So volume is intraday contracts changing hands. Open interest is how many of those contracts are still open. That was me coming off with like the worst example off the top of my head there. But I do have a breakdown of that in a learning guide as well too. But yeah, like these. So that to me, this whale on the 18th here, and you're not going to know exactly where they're trimming their contracts, but I mean they hit profit in here. So that, and they pass those off because that's why you're not seeing that change in the open interest. Again, you see the 2,000 contracts traded, only 88 dropped off that. So the contracts are changing hands, and that whale's not closing their full position. I think I might have one where that whale does close that position. Let me just come back up here and look. I think it was the cipher ones. So it's a little better example. So like here on the 17th, you had 3,700 contracts traded. You have 4,000 contracts carry over. And then you had here at the bid side, 3,600 contracts traded at the bid. You don't see that full drop off there, but obviously you're going to have other contracts traded throughout the day as well. But this whale closed that next day. So like you can see how that drop in that open interest versus the Maras where they're only an 88 dropped and all that volume is there that next day. Hopefully that makes a little more sense there. That's me trying to explain it. Sorry. While being sick and coughing. But yeah, so those did make a good move there. HIMS, massive move on these things. JT, you already know how HIMS goes. I said that in the chat too. I was like, oh, here comes HIMS. You know what that means. 275 up there. I mean, you spiked and hit today. I mean, 1005 for a high. That's a massive move there. WDC. And again, this is why I'm always telling people adjust your stops up. So entry was back here, 165. 17th, you hit 185 here for a high. That's smaller return. I always tell people 10-15% minimum. I kind of count anything under 10% as a loss, but I have a stop on if I'm up 10-15%. Can again always recycle those profits, because now look, if you followed that whale fully, it would have been up, what's this, 12%ish or so. This whale's cutting these at 75 now, and if you followed them, you would have cut for a loss when you would have had at least some profits. But these, and yeah, like this, they're ads because 1,600 contracts there. You have 1,000 come in there, and I believe our entry was actually on this third candle, so you have another 800 there. That math, kind of just quickly do it in your head, obviously. 1,600 plus 1,000 plus 8, you've got 1,800, so kind of math is off there a little bit, where you probably can assume it's an opening trade, and all of that carried over into the 16th. So let's see what else we got here. Palantir, those made a good move too. Entry was here on the 15th, 560. These hit their high here on the 17th again, 890. And you just see a lot of that kind of volume here. And just want to take a peek here. So 15th, most of that was at 1,100. 1,100 carrying over here. Or 1,100 traded there, sorry. Then you had 600 carryover. So again, Palantir, obviously a name that's traded a lot more, has a lot more liquidity. But you don't see any massive spikes here. So again, just a lot of contracts changing hands. You don't see a big jump in that open interest either. So that's telling me maybe that whale got out. I don't 100% know. Unless you are that whale, you won't know. Yeah, I mean, draw down for a day or two, and then you had your big run here on the 17th where they hit 890 here. So if you're still in those, obviously a really good play there. Then it looks like big spikes here on the 18th with a lot of contracts again changing hands, because you got 5,000 contracts traded yesterday, only 577 carrying over into today. Again, a lot of contracts changing hands. Something like this makes it a lot harder to follow these whales, but it's kind of why you're trying to find those names, like, let's see where we can just, like the NXEs from today. Or, well, of course I picked the one that's, then, okay, well, like this is a really easy one to follow. And this is kind of why we're all have beginners start out more. You have, I mean, it's a clean opening trade. There are only 189 open contracts at the time. You have this whale come in with almost 3,000 contracts. It mathematically, this is 100% for sure an opening trade. I bet you anything it's an opening trade just based on the numbers there. You can't have more contracts traded at one time than the open interest and it not being an open position. So like these 110, and this is kind of why I like having unusual whales too. You can kind of see what's going on here. So like me now, if I'm trading this, I know that, so okay, for an example for if you don't have unusual whales, like if I'm taking these NVTSs from the flow alerts and I see, okay, well, it's about 3,000 contracts, I'm going to set an alert in my broker. So all the brokers should have alerts. I know Webull does. That's who I use. But when you look at the alerts, I'm going to set something for maybe, so 3,000. I like to do half of that, so I would probably have an alert at 4,500. So with that volume gets above that 4,500, so like today you would have been alerted. Now you can always just be like, okay, well, hey, what's going on? Is that whale still in that trade? I tell people to ping me. I can quickly look it up. And I mean, it'd be like, okay, well, looks like that whale's still in. It just looks like retail following that whale there. Now, if I had a big spike here of probably 3,000 contracts, I would be like, okay, well, that whale could be exiting and taking profits. But like this one, perfect example of a clean opening trade. And even just coming back here and looking at the historical move or historical chain here, you have nothing on here. I mean, yesterday was the first time it's had any contracts traded on it. So let's see, what else did we have here? The Crocs. These ones annoyed me because I actually took some of these. And the ones that have time on them too, I always kind of tell people just the longer the days to expiration, the longer term that whale could be on those. Because if a whale's 600 days out on the contracts, they're more than likely probably not expecting an intraday move. They're in it for the longer run there. But these kind of just fell off right away, 310 and trading at 134 right now. So like now if I really, really like these and I like the chart setup, okay, well, I know most of that volume should still be in here, 915. Yeah, that most of that, 917. See, now you don't know if that whale's still in because you have a lot of that volume, but no change in that open interest here. I'm going to cough here quick, so I'm going to mute the mic. Oh, man, I hate being sick so much. Keith, I have no idea how you can do this all day for 3 hours a day almost. It's my voice is dead after an hour almost. But let's see. Yeah, so this one, harder to kind of know what's still in there. I mean, obviously, you add that up, 382 plus the 169. You're getting close to that candle size there. Probably pass those off to somebody else at about 160 and that original entry's out. And the lemonade calls, those, wow, those are actually crazy today. Cool. And that's one thing too with the flow, it's you don't know what that yeah. Actually, funny thing, Bruno, is I took Mucinex, I've taken Dayquil, NyQuil, everything. I'm on every med that you can think of right now. I like Mucinex. Mucinex works good for me. I like Mucinex. But yeah, Sudafed's pretty good too. Yeah, I'm at home all day M1, so I'm not really around people that much. But it started last Friday. Like I just got a sore throat that went away. I thought it was allergies. Yeah. Yeah, you got a point. I've got a COVID test upstairs too. I feel a lot better than Monday though. Monday was horrible for me. I woke up cold and everything. I'm a lot better now. But yeah, these lemonades. And this is one thing you never know what the flow is going to do either. I mean, 170, that was our fill from Monday. I mean, you're just kind of choppy. Small little pop here yesterday and then down and then just, I mean, rocket today. So, I mean, you can see, and actually, that whale looks like they exited those the same day because, again, here's all that volume on the day. Had only 1,000 carry over. How much was that original? 1,600. Yeah, so that whale got out that same day on those. And the whales can be wrong too. Obviously, they're people. You just never know what they're kind of looking at. They're people just like us, retail traders like us. They might know something or think they know something that's going to happen. But I mean, 170 here, and then they're hitting their high of 294 today or 370, and they're 6% in the money. I'm sure that whale's probably kicking themselves now, but yeah, I mean, that's just kind of some of the flow from this week. I'll do the flow recap video too. I got to kind of dig through and actually go through the notes and stuff, but let's see what else we're getting here. So like these again right away, your spots a little toward, I mean, it's more towards skewed towards the ask here. Let's take a peek at the flow. 11% out of the money, some time on them, big spike in net call premium. Obviously, again, opening trade, volume to open interest. Let's look at that raw flow. So when I'm looking at the raw flow, a couple things I want to take a peek at. I'm looking at the IV column. I'm looking at the spot column. I'm looking at that bid-ask spread, and I'm looking at the time here. So I want that time to obviously be all uniformed here. Yeah, that lemonade one, I'm going to have to look at that a little bit more. That was me just kind of going off on a whim. So the DJTs here. So this right away starts to look good to me. So this is where your flow starts to come in. You can see your flow alert. It's a repeated hits alert. Your IV spikes. Your spot is filling in at the ask. I'm just following this all the way up. I just want to keep an eye on that IV, make sure it doesn't change to the downside. I'm just watching that that spot fill here. Just following this up. So you can see now you have some bid side action here. Your IV still spikes on that. So to me, your timing's all the same here. Looks good there. Your spot's all coming in here at the ask. Now, this is why it's saying something's coming in at the bid here. I'm going to cough again quick, so sorry. So with this coming in at the bid, you're technically filling at that previous ask. And you're probably just seeing that bid-ask spread widen a little bit with all that volume coming in on that chain and that being the only volume on that chain, essentially. But these I would read as a buy. So these would be buying calls, essentially, on something like that. Yeah, I mean, long term, probably wouldn't want to hold it, but here to kind of make money on the move. That's one thing. I know there's a lot of people that are like, I won't trade Tesla because I hate Elon. It's like, well, I'm here to make money. I could care less if I hate a CEO or something. I'll make the money off of them. And something like this, it makes it tough too, because I mean, you have that big spike at the moment. It just makes it kind of difficult because that IV's up on that stock at the moment as well too. I would lean buys on these if I had to, because it looks like we're gonna move up again here. So the IRENs, let's go to a different one. The 10-343 calls looks good right away. 241K, 1,100 contracts coming in at the ask. So you've got a little previous volume here. And I'm going to cough again, sorry. I promise for the new people in here, I'm never trying to cough like this. It's, not the best week. So we got a lot of this volume here, so we know it's an opening trade here just based off of what was on here already. Let's take a peek at the flow. And I like to look at that flow around it as well too, just to kind of see what's going on. Obviously we had some flow earlier here too. So all within the last 10 minutes here. And I'm just kind of looking at that Ivy. It's just bouncing around, so you can kind of see and hear how it declines a little bit. Now this is where your flow alert comes in. You just kind of see all this here. It's just showing you where that flow alert is. Repeated hits, so it's just telling you it's getting a lot of hits there. Your IV spike, so okay, that looks good to me there. 216, you're coming in at the ask. Now we see that IV kind of drop off a little bit here, and you're still almost within milliseconds here, or seconds there. Milliseconds. You can tell I'm ready for the weekend, man. And that IV drop, so I don't like that. Then some more flow here, so 1427. So a lot of that, again, coming within seconds. You see that IV drop here now when the repeated hits come in here. So we're at 109.63 now. So it's up from this, but you see it kind of drop from that other flow that was there. Let's see what else. And this is kind of why it's like you got to look at the flow. Now you have that IV spike again here. Like something like this. This is something I wouldn't post. Just you have that IV all over the place, and that's the one thing with the flow. You're digging through and finding it's probably, I mean, like today I only had the 2 pieces of solid flow that I posted. You're digging through all this flow all day, and 95% of it is junk. It's just trying to find what isn't junk and could be actionable. But like those IRENs, probably wouldn't post those. You're already up 8.5% almost on the day. A little shorter term, 10% out of the money. Probably would not post those. As in, I'm not going to post those. But if you made me guess, I would probably guess their buys. But that's just, I mean, that comes with time in the market. You're probably not going to chase something like that. Let's look at the 11/21/17 for use. So right away I can see a lot of kind of bid and ask side stuff here. Obviously more skewed towards the ask. Had a lot of bid side call flow come in here recently. You're up 7% on the day. I think we looked at these. I feel like I just remember seeing that. Okay, so good example here. So you're following that IV up. And typically I like to see flow before the flow, because I want to see how when that whale flow actually comes in, how that impacts the IV around it. Seeing flow after, it's great too, but I want to see how that flow before it was sitting and all that as well too. But just following this up, so repeated hits, descending fills. So I'm looking where that fill descended here, and looks like we're getting that right up here. And you can see IV dropped here. IV spikes a little bit again here, and then your IV drops again there too. And it's on the kind of heavier size and premium of that trade. So to me, they're probably selling these at the ask. And that's one thing too. You'll see a lot of people say everything at the ask is a buy and everything at the bid is a sell. Completely untrue. You need to kind of at least do a little due diligence and look at that raw flow. And not everything at the ask with IV increasing, spot price increasing, and all that is going to be a buy either. They can be wrong, obviously, in the flow recaps. You see it every once in a while where some of the flow, I mean, it's textbook flow and it just completely goes the other way. You just never know what that whale is fully doing or what that full position is that whale has on. But okay, let's take a peek at the WFCs. And I'm just kind of really diving into it because I know there's a couple new people in here, so I'd like to go a little deeper. So let's look at the WFC 926.85 calls. So already a little volume on that. Some open interest. I want to just double check that. So that open interest, just make sure. I just like to pop out. Okay, so definitely an opening trade today. So weeklies, you're at the money, almost up or up 1.5%. So okay, your IV spikes here. Just following this up, IV staying up. So IV drops a little bit here. So on one contract, that doesn't really concern me. It's only $104 out of that trade. Your IV comes back up here. Spots coming in at the ask. I would probably lean buys on these. It would just be kind of depending on if you would like to swing those over the weekend where you have theta decay and all that. Because if these open up on Monday, the 22nd here, you would need, I mean, at least a 1% move on those to get some money out of them. But that's the issue with theta, because your theta 8 cents a day. I don't think their theta is correct on here, actually. And yes, Bruno, I know Sudafed's so good. My parents used to always just give me that too when I was little. I love Sudafed so much. All right, let's go back. So yeah, these I would probably lean buying calls on those. I mean, you have a lot of net call premium here, and they could just be tailing these into the close as well. Okay, let's take a peek at the EIX 57.5 calls coming in at the ask. Definitely an opening trade here. I mean, most of that size is coming, or most of the size of this single trade is your volume for the day. A lot of net call premium. Do we get a lot of that on this one? So this is your biggest day of net call premium over the last 14 sessions. Over the last 30 sessions, yeah. I mean, this doesn't get a lot of option activity here. So let's take a peek at this. So now this is where it becomes kind of an issue. This is coming in essentially as a block trade. You can't really read the flow before it or after it. You just have it all coming in at once. So, I mean, you have one piece of volume coming in after. This could be a retail person that has unusual whales as well. Just getting a contract, but that IV, I mean, just kind of going off the one contract there. That IV dropped, but I don't have any actual data to kind of figure out if this is a buy or a sell at the ask. But now if we had some flow before this, like if we had a bunch of like 50, 60, couple hundred contracts or so on this, I could see how that IV changes when this big trade comes in, but I don't have anything. So like this is no signal to me. See what else we got here. About these FSMs, the 320, 26, 10s. So a lot of net call premium, 22% out of the money. Another one that doesn't get a lot of activity except for today. And even, I'm going to get a drink here. And even just kind of looking at that chain. So what is this? So this is 55% of your total volume or premium here. So let's look at the flow. Let's see. Hopefully it's not a block trade. Nope, it's not. So a good example. So like this perfect example. Like you can see how we have some flow before it earlier in the day. When that big trade comes in, I can see its impact in the implied volatility. That implied volatility spikes. Your spot price is spiked. It's coming in at the ask. And just kind of following this up quick, just 53, 54. I mean, the IV's staying up. Your spot price is filling at the ask the entire time. And another thing I like to do, I'm going to pop it in here. So we knew that FSM was about 55% of the total premium there. So let me come over here and pop in the highest volume contracts. Let's see what that other high premium one is here. So it looks like we have the 2 call for 116.26 being hit too. So your other premium there. Then your 115.27 10 call being hit here too. So to me, yeah, that's a very bullish piece of flow here. Good long-term flow there. Now, if you like slower movers, this is obviously not a penny stock, but it's a very slow mover. I mean, FSM, you're up almost 3% on the day. It's a 23-cent move. So that's, if you like something slower moving, yeah, I'm going to see what the market's doing here. Actually, I haven't. Oh, cool. I know Keith called it. He said we were going to finish strong into the day. My poor SPY puts for January. Yeah, so yeah, like this is a good piece of flow if you like slower movers. Heard a ding. Let's see where we got that. So multi-leg trade, not even looking at those. Anything here, just more silver. And the ETF flowing kind of metals and all that. I like to see heavier premiums, like this gold premium here. That's a good premium there. Good size and good premium here. And you can see this one, obviously a little longer time. Well, 125% out of the money. That's, but still, I mean, 182 days. Let's take a peek. So, okay, your IV spikes. 93.26. So yeah, and something like longer term like this too, 182 days, I'm probably not going to just hop right into it. Oops. See where we are at on the chart quick. Here we at. Oh wow. Okay. Well, I'm going to say it's probably due for a bounce at some point here. Just doing a, and I usually don't chart on Webull. This is just very crappy chart here. I mean, you can't even really draw anything good on this either. This is pretty junky. Yeah, I didn't think it was that low either at 15. That surprised me. That's why I immediately hit that weekly on there. That's, yeah, that, okay, so 100 and some days. Probably expect it to make a move up at some point there. And just kind of looking at the premiums here. I just want to go over here and look the last 30 days. I mean, seeing a lot of call volume here. And I mean, got to see that price catch up to it at some point more than likely. And obviously your put premium from yesterday is causing the drop there. And again, if you're kind of looking, you know, for a market pullback too, that would be something good. And you got a little gap here too, 27, 26.47 to 27.46, about $1 gap there. Yeah, that's an interesting one. It's a little cheaper play too. What else do we got here? Yeah, I mean, this isn't an ask side fill. This is your mid fill. I mean, you're coming at 37, between 36 and 38. There's your mid fill there. 19% out of the money. And just with it being a mid fill, and obviously SPY has a lot of volume traded on it too, so I don't think. Yeah, it's definitely not or somebody closing something a little further back, but I mean, just kind of look at this and it's, well, I want to see where that, okay, so that spot price does increase there a little bit. I'm trying to see where that spread messed it up and said it was just a fill at 37 here. probably because it's all coming in right there. Then you just had some here at 38. Yeah, that I think something might just be reported wrong there. So those would be ask side there, but obviously, I mean, you got a lot of volume and open interest on something like that. Let's see. Oh, these lift calls just came in. So why are they? It's surprising they came in that showing at the ask here when you're that close to the bid. Let's take a peek. So 60.57, 60.63, so that IV does spike there. Keeping an eye here, so IV spikes again there. And this is just kind of where you'd have a little market knowledge, and you might think, okay, well, we've been up. Didn't lift pop on Wednesday, or was that Tuesday? I know Lyft had a big day. So yeah, I mean, this is just kind of, do you think we're going to continue up or fill the gap? I don't like chasing something that's moved up this much, but let's, I mean, since 16th, actually we'll do the 15th. I mean, up to the high here, I mean, almost 25% move on the stock. I'm probably not chasing that when you're another 15% out. If I am going to chase it, I'm going to wait for a discounted entry. Looks like they're adding more to that too. So more of those Netflixes coming in here. Are these the ones that we had the 1290 calls? Let's see. 1290, yes, okay, so those 1290s are getting hit again. That's interesting to me. I have to see how those finish next week. That's a interesting ad there. But I'm going to get off, everybody. I'm starting to kind of get pluggy. I don't want to keep sniffing on the mic. I'll have the flow recap up hopefully tonight. We'll see. Otherwise early tomorrow. But all right, everybody, have a great weekend. Thanks for hopping in and dealing with the coughing and everything.